A long time ago, after the great war of Troy had ended, Odysseus, the clever king of Ithaca, prepared to go home. He had fought bravely in the Trojan War, using his brilliant idea, the Trojan Horse, to help the Greeks win. Now, all he wanted was to return to his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus. But the gods had other plans. What should have been a short journey turned into a 10-year adventure full of monsters, magic, and mighty challenges. Odysseus and his men set sail with high hopes, but they angered the god Poseidon, the ruler of the sea, by blinding his son, a giant cyclops named Polyphemus. Poseidon roared from the depths, "You may reach home one day, Odysseus, but only after you've suffered greatly." And so the waves began to toss his ship from one strange land to another. Odysseus and his crew visited many strange places. The land of the lotus eaters, where sweet fruit made men forget everything, even their desire to go home. The island of the Cyclopes, where Odysseus tricked the one-eyed monster Polyphemus by telling him his name was nobody. The island of Aeolus, the wind god, who gave Odysseus a bag of winds, but his men, curious and foolish, opened it, blowing them far off course. The land of the Laestrygonians, giant cannibals, who destroyed many of their ships. Each time they thought they were getting closer to home, another danger awaited. On the island of Circe, a powerful sorceress turned Odysseus's men into pigs. But with the help of the god Hermes, Odysseus resisted her magic and convinced her to help them. They stayed there for a year, resting and recovering. Before they could leave, Circe warned Odysseus, "To reach Ithaca, you must first visit the land of the dead." And so Odysseus sailed to the underworld, where he spoke with the ghost of the blind prophet Tiresias, who told him how to survive Poseidon's wrath and return home. There, Odysseus also met his fallen mother, and the ghost of Achilles, his old war companion. Even after escaping the land of the dead, danger followed. The sirens, whose beautiful singing lured sailors to their doom. Odysseus had his men plug their ears with wax, but he himself wanted to hear the song, so they tied him to the mast so he couldn't jump overboard. Scylla and Charybdis, a six-headed sea monster and a deadly whirlpool, Odysseus had to sail between them, losing men but saving the ship. On the island of the sun, god Helios, his starving men killed the sacred cattle, and as punishment, Zeus destroyed their ship with a thunderbolt. Odysseus alone survived, floating on a piece of wood, until he reached the island of Calypso, a lonely goddess who fell in love with him and kept him for 7 years. Eventually, the gods took pity on Odysseus, and he was allowed to leave Calypso's island on a raft. After more storms, he washed up on the land of the Phaeacians, who listened to his story and finally gave him safe passage home. After 20 years, Odysseus returned to Ithaca, but all was not well. In his absence, many greedy men called suitors had moved into his palace, eating his food and trying to marry his wife, believing he was dead. Odysseus, disguised as a beggar, entered his home in secret. Only his old dog Argos recognized him and wagged his tail before dying peacefully. With the help of his son Telemachus and a few loyal servants, Odysseus revealed himself and defeated the suitors in a great battle. Finally, he reunited with Queen Penelope, who had waited faithfully for 2 decades, testing every man who claimed to be her husband. Thus, after wars, monsters, magic, and heartbreak, Odysseus was home at last. Not because of his strength, but because of his cleverness, courage, and never-ending desire to return to the people he loved.